Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is week 37 of my doing 100 weeks of YouTube videos and focusing on living a healthy and happy life. So, yay! I made it to week 37. Maybe I should start counting down how many weeks I have left. It will motivate me to keep making my videos every week, or to actually do my goals, or maybe it will overwhelm me because that's like 63 weeks to go. And I've probably been doing this for over 63 weeks. I just haven't consistently been doing them. So I'm still about 2 weeks behind in making my videos, but I'm still going to try to remember what I did 2 weeks ago for my video. And apparently the video that I made last week did not upload, so it will be uploaded today as well. I did make it last week. I'm just annoyed that it didn't upload. So as I went to make this video, and I'm like, where did it go? Because I remember making it. So anyway, not as far behind as I think that I am, but anyhow, I will just go through my list of goals of things that I really need to figure out a way to just look at this like every single day and try to get myself to do something on this list every single day, because maybe then I would feel a whole lot better about myself, but I have not. So mentally, we'll start with mentally. So mentally, I'm supposed to like read other people's books, work on my own books, find some ways to do things that are creative, make my videos, because that's a creative thing, it's a mental thing, being spontaneous, being positive, being grateful, all of those things that help me like just mentally put myself in the right frame of mind to be happy and to enjoy my life and to take better care of myself. So this week was kind of a mental roller coaster for me, a bit of a struggle, but doable. Life is doable. So we'll go with that. So I disappointed in myself because I did not meet my deadline for my book of when I was supposed to turn it in, but I did message my publisher, and she did respond back to me and told me it was okay because we were technically a week ahead, so I wasn't actually getting things further behind, which is nice. Plus she had a lot of stuff going on this week, so it was actually better for her to not have to be worrying about my book this week. So she basically told me to take my time for the week, which really you should not tell anybody that has ADHD that, or tell me that, because it's like, as soon as my brain's like, oh, I have time, I don't have to stress, and I don't have to do this, I won't do it. And I didn't. So it's terrible. I waited until Friday when my deadline was Thursday and to actually work on my book again. And I had all of 5 chapters left to do. And I did get through 3, maybe 4 of them Friday night, but I didn't actually start working on it until like 9 o'clock on Friday night. And then I stopped around midnight, or maybe it was 1 or 2 in the morning. I don't remember. It was kind of late. But I stopped because I was actually falling asleep, and I'm not really sure that I was paying attention to what I was doing. And so I decided it was better to just save my last chapter for the next day because I just had the 1 more chapter to do. So I did finish it Saturday. And then of course, Saturday I was going through and trying to add a bunch of stuff, like do my dedication page and I think I already did the dedication page. I don't remember, but then I was trying to add stuff to the back of the book because she did ask me if there was some other stuff that I could put in there, like she did ask for some other stuff. So I was looking for the other stuff she asked for, because she asked for like a list of the names. Well, she created a list of names that she had, and so I had a different list that I gave her. She did ask about the powers, and so I did find the document that had the powers in it, and then I had to go through and fix it and make sure that it was, because I'd written it years ago, I don't even know how many years ago I wrote it. And of course, I just wrote it for my own personal notes and to keep track of like what I was doing, like the description, so that I had it in my mind. And once I wrote it out, it was just kind of solidifies it for me, and I'm good from there. I know what it does. No big deal. But she wanted the list that maybe we could put in the book as one of the appendixes, so other people reading the book could go back through and read what each power is and what each power is supposed to do. So I had to go through and make clarifications on that. So I tried to go through and do that, and then I wanted it to have like, not necessarily proper grammar, but like actual sentence structure, because they were just notes to me. So it didn't matter if I had run on sentences or no periods or nothing. It just didn't matter to me. So I had to go back through and fix all of that. And then I had to make sure that the terminology matched the terminology in the book. And I started doing that with my book. And then I realized that I was doing it with the description that she had for me as an author at the end. And I was like, no, that can be in like modern English. It doesn't have to be in my terminologies for my book. So I was kind of having to undo stuff that I was doing because I was went too far in my book, because I was going back through and searching for words that I didn't want in my book and realizing that I'd actually used them. And I was like, I use these? What the heck was I thinking? And having to find other words and terminologies or change the phrase so that it would be different in my book. So I spent a lot of time doing that on Saturday. But I did get through all of that. And then I redid the drawings, and then I sent her an email back and said, oh, well, I didn't redo the drawings. I created a Word document. Ended up doing just like because I couldn't figure out how to add the Excel document that I had in there, so then I just added the other one in there. So that I created a Word document that has not an Excel spreadsheet. What do you call that? My brain is just like frozen. It's something. It's basically where you create the little blocks. So it kind of creates a little different blocks on there so you can write the different stuff in there. So I kind of just basically created that. I hope you know what I'm talking about, because sometimes my brain just loses words. Like, I cannot think of the word for something. Like, I can picture it in my mind. I know what it is. And I know if I was on my laptop right now, I could just open up Word and I could just click on it and it would say insert whatever, and it would work. So I want to say like diagram, but it's not really a diagram. It's the cells that creates the different cells on there. So I don't know, insert cells. That's not the right word either. I know it's not. But anyway, it just basically created the little blocks, cells that you can write the different words in. So I could kind of put them in a circular form that I had from my Excel spreadsheet. And then I realized that I was missing one of the powers, because nobody has that power. So that I didn't have them, but I have the stones in the book. So I have the extra ones in there. So I had to put them somewhere in there. So I stuck them in there where I think I stuck them in the book, and I hope that they're in the right order. And then I attached all of that. Then I attached all the other stuff, and I sent it back to my publisher, and I let her know that I do have some like drawings of them somewhere, but I would need to get someone to scan them in so that I can email them to her so she could kind of see what they look like. Something to do next week or the next time around or whatever. But I just have some stuff like that, but I don't know where that stuff is right off the top of my head. I don't know if I've already scanned it into my computer. I don't know where the plug or I don't know where the cord is that plugs into my printer / scanner. So unless or until I can find that, I don't even know if my printer / scanner still works, because I probably haven't used it in like 5 to 10 years. So mostly I stopped using it because I ran out of ink, and then I've moved a few times and I've just got a whole bunch of cords, and I don't know if I threw the cords away or if they're just put away somewhere with like other computer stuff. So I just don't know if I have cords for it. But I know I can attach it wirelessly, but it has to be plugged in, but I just haven't been able to plug my printer in, so I can't scan stuff in myself. And I don't even know if it would still work, because again, like I said, I haven't used it in like 5 to 10 years. So it's just been collecting dust for that long, which is sad. So, but because of that, I really have no idea if it works. So I get other people to help me, which I'm very grateful for, other people being willing to help me. I just didn't do it this past week. I just told her that I need to do that for some future date. And I sent all of that back to her on Saturday, even though I told her I would be done Wednesday or Thursday. So I still took a couple extra days, but I figured I have a whole week anyway. And she's just going to push it back to an entire week, even if I do it in like 2 or 3 days. So I was like, what the heck? I'll just use the whole week. Apparently that's how my brain works. And it took me until Friday to finish it. But I did finish it. I did divide the chapter. I did do all of the stuff that I needed to for my mental crazy, just a lot of mentally overcoming all of those things and trying to do that for myself. So that's a good thing. So I was using my brain for some creative things, not really making my videos or doing anything else that I should have been doing, but I at least finished my book. I at least sent it back, and I at least sent the best that I could with all the extra documents that I had to my publisher. So hopefully that will help answer her questions, and hopefully there will be work with the attachments to whatever, because I think I only took one thing out of, or added the circle of stones Excel to the Excel spreadsheet that she created for the book Bible thing. And I know in my writing group, like last month or the month before, we discussed the book Bible thing as kind of a way to track stuff in your book. But I have to tell you, I'm kind of a pantser, like when I do my writing, and I I do have random stuff, different places that works for me that I can just pull up because I've named the document and I can go back and look at it. But putting it in the order that she had it in and the different stuff that she did, like, makes absolutely no sense to me. It was very confusing to me. And I was like, I don't know how this works, but if it works for you guys, go ahead and keep it. That's fine. I'll just send it back to everybody. But I just didn't feel like I could add stuff to it or do something to it because I just don't understand the concept of how it works. I mean, I kind of understand the concept, but it doesn't make sense to me. So it's not something that I feel like I can use or utilize for me. So, and maybe if I got taught how to do it differently, but I also think even if I was taught how to do it, I would be like, that's nice, that's not going to happen. But it's supposed to help you keep track, especially if you have multiple characters, as to what each character is doing. It's supposed to help you keep track of timelines. It's supposed to help you keep track of dates, different things like that. But the way that it's set up just doesn't work for me. I have separate documents for everything. So like I have a list of names. So I have like names for like future characters, old characters, current characters, whatever. I have a list of names. I have a list of cities. And I basically, it's like I have for my main whatever characters, I have a list of names in there. And then I have a list of what I call the old generation, which are the ones that I'm working on right now. And then I have a list of like names for cities, and then I have a list of other possible names that I've come up with that I haven't decided who they're going to be or what they're going to be or if I'm going to use them, but they're possible names that I could give to characters if I need to. If I can't think of something, I've randomly thought of other names, but they don't actually belong to anyone. They're just random names. So I just have a document that says names, and then I have a document that says, Circle of Powers, because it has a list of where everybody's going and what everybody's doing. And so I did that. And then I have then I have one for like the language that I'm creating. So I have a document that just has the language that I'm creating. It has the alphabet, and then it has like some of the words and the sayings that I've come up with to this point. It's not a whole lot. It's probably going to keep growing and becoming a whole lot more, and might require a little bit more organization at some point. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. So, and then of course I had a document that's just like the list of powers. So it just had a list of all the powers, and I had a list of all the names of the teachers of powers and what each power does. So that was kind of but they're separate documents. They're not all put together. They're not all in one place, and it's not all the timeline and stuff like that. So anyway, that works for me. So everybody does what works for them. So mentally, I kind of had to remind myself that I don't have to fit into this form. I don't have to do the way that everybody else does it. It's okay if I do things a little bit differently, and then I can just share with my publisher what I have, and then she can add to the Word book Bible, whatever you want to call it, and however that works. If that works for her and it works for the other people that are editing my book, then fantastic. Then they can have that to help them keep track of everything in my book, to make sure that I stay consistent, because they're the ones that are editing the book. So they need to make sure that everything is consistent with what I said from the beginning to the end, that everything matches, that everything flows, and that there's not any kind of contradictions from book to book, from character to character, that it all kind of stays together, which is great having somebody else go back and double check that, because I would probably change it or mess it up in my head somewhere along the line because I forgot what I wrote or what I originally said. So they can remind me that I either have to go back and change it. Although now, once something is published, it's kind of like that's the rule, and I have to stick to that rule for future books and for future references. So it's kind of like a little bit scarier for me to do that, but excited about doing that because it kind of solidifies everything. And then anyway, it's still just a long process, but mentally I got through all of that, and it took me, and I'm so grateful I didn't stay up on Friday and try to do all of that, because I probably spent another 3 hours on Saturday. It didn't take me more than like 15-20 minutes to finish the last chapter of the book, but it took me the rest of the time to try to organize and recreate the Circle of Powers in a Word document instead of an Excel spreadsheet, and how to get all of that organized and all of the documents found and sent to my publisher. So hopefully all goes well with that. So that is my ramblings for my mental stuff, because lots of mental stuff going on. And of course, mentally just having to overcome whatever issues I was having as far as like getting my book redone. And then of course having to send to her my explanation as to why I don't want contractions in my book, which I also did, but I did it I think in a nice way, and just basic explanation way, and not like a defensive way, and not like a I'm irritated way, even though I was. So I think I did it quite nicely. I hope I did it nicely anyway. Did it the best that I could at this point. So, financially, my finances, I haven't looked at them all week. I got paid and I didn't care, and I haven't looked at my finances. I haven't paid bills. I haven't done anything with them. I've just spent my money because I know I have money to spend, which is terrible because I need to go through and figure out where that money needs to go and what I need to save for future things that I know I'm not going to have money for. And I just haven't done that. So I just chosen to spend money like I have it. And that's not a good thing. Definitely not a good thing. So I need to work on that. Definitely need to work on that. But that didn't happen this week. So, socially, I'm still not very good at like reaching out to friends and family. I did reach out to my sister because it's her birthday this week. So mine was last week, hers was this week. Fantastic, right? And so I did do that. And then some guy that I had messaged a couple weeks ago on the dating app that I'm on sent me a message back and said he was sorry that he hasn't contacted me sooner. And I was like, oh, I completely forgot about him. Or I figured he wasn't interested because I hadn't heard from him. And so we did chat a little bit this week, and yeah. And then he got on my nerves, so I just was like, not gonna happen. He didn't really get on my nerves. He did a little bit, but I had to learn how to set boundaries, and I had to say no, and then I just didn't feel like he was giving me the opportunity to actually get to know him, and I didn't feel like he was actually getting to know me. And I kind of could see myself in him, like how I used to be, where I was like really clingy or just really excited because somebody liked me. And I would be like, yay, somebody likes me. And then I would just like imagine that everything is going to work out with this person in this relationship. But I probably just planned the whole thing out in my head without actually getting to know the person, and just kind of put my whole self into whatever that relationship was going to be, or that I wanted it to be, whether it actually was or not. And now I'm kind of on the other side where someone else was doing that to me and putting me on a pedestal and thinking that I was perfect and planning out our entire relationship. And I was just like, whoa, like, I don't even know you. And you've already decided that I'm perfect. And you've already decided that I'm great at everything that I mentioned I'm doing. And you haven't even seen me do anything. You haven't even tasted anything that I've made. You haven't even seen how I've interacted with other people. Like, really nothing about me other than like the few things that I've mentioned, and you've already decided that I'm perfect, and you've already decided that I'm great at everything. And I was just kind of like, okay, just stop. And then of course he was super needy because he just kept constantly texting me, and then I would have to be like, okay, I have to go to work, or okay, I will be off at this time, or we can talk at this time. And then he would text me like all the way up to that point. And for a while, I just kept trying to respond back to him because I was trying to be nice and not just blow him off. And I thought, okay, this is the way to get to know you. And he was asking a whole bunch of questions. So I was like, okay, well, that's good. It's a good way to get to know each other by asking questions. But then he just kept going. And at some point, I was kind of like, okay, I can't do this right now. So I had to just stop responding. But it didn't mean he stopped texting me. And so I think Sunday, I finally told him to just stop texting me. And I think it was Monday after I'm just not going to make it for my next week's video. I just sent him a text and just told him, you know what, this isn't going to work for me. Because I just didn't want to talk to him again. By the time Sunday had come around, I was just like, seriously, it was too much. It was too much. It was too intense. And I was like, okay, I do want to be open for a relationship. And then I worry that maybe it's me. And maybe I'm not as open to having a relationship as I want to be. And I feel like I'm supposed to be open to a relationship and open to dating and open to marriage. And those are all things that I want. But this time around, I want to have a healthy relationship. I don't want to make up something that isn't there. And I want to feel safe with the person that I'm going to be with in the future. And I want to feel like we're connecting, but I don't want to feel pressured into it. I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of someone else. I don't want to feel like I'm leading somebody on when I'm not feeling the same way that they're feeling. And I don't want to, and in the past, I've always had bad experiences with people that instantly connected with me, or that I instantly connected with. And they're the ones that have always hurt me, that have always cheated, that have always done things behind my back, that it's been a bad experience with men and women, not that I was dating women. But I mean, I had a friend in high school that like we instantly connected, and then she stole from me, and she stole from my brother, and she stole from my family, and not a good relationship. I had a roommate in college, and we totally connected, and then she was using my she was using my phone card to make phone calls and do things, and then she was telling me stuff about my roommate, and then my roommate was telling me stuff about her. And apparently, because I mean there were 6 of us that lived there, but we shared a room together. And then my roommate was just one of my roommates that I ended up, we didn't like each other the first year we were together, and she was mean to me and I didn't like her. And then the next year we got to know each other better, and then we actually became really good friends. But the next year we had this other roommate that tried to come between us, and that she took my phone card and she was doing things, and it was not good. It was not a good situation. And so it's just, to me, the people that like instant connection and they instantly grab hold and they try to hang on like that, they're out to manipulate, they're out to hurt me. And I realize not everyone is like that, and I'm sure that you can have an instant connection and it's worked out, and people have had these amazing relationships, like long-term relationships, from someone they instantly connected to. And I think that's great and that's fantastic. I'm just, from my own personal experience, I haven't had good experiences with that, and it hasn't worked out for me. And like I said, I used to, like, if anybody showed interest in me, I would probably do exactly what this guy did, and I would just get overly excited, and I would probably text them too much, and just, I mean, I could see myself even doing that with my ex, and like I'm bad timing and all of those other things, and not respecting boundaries, because I was needy and I wanted a response, and I wanted this and I wanted that, and I was just super excited about being in a relationship and not really focused on getting to know that person. And so because I didn't focus as much on getting to know my ex, and I just saw the external things, and everyone told me he was a great guy, and it just felt right, and I was super excited about getting married. And I'm not saying it was a bad decision that I made, I just didn't get to know him as well as I could have, and I just ignored any red flags that were there. And some of it's just because it was normal stuff that I grew up with, so I was used to that, and it didn't seem like a red flag to me. And some of it was just because I was hoping that it would be different, and that it would be different or better once we got married. And he said that it would be, so I believed him, and it wasn't. So that's on me. So I'm struggling with the whole concept of being open to relationships and open to dating and finding someone, and just being maybe a little bit overly cautious about what type of relationship I get into, but also trying to be aware of like red flags, and not wanting to be in a relationship that feels like it's rushed or that it's pressured. And I don't want the pressure of someone thinking that I'm perfect, and knowing that when we get in this relationship, we're going to figure out who the other person really is, and that he's not going to be all the things he's telling me that he can be. And I'm like, yes, you can be all those things, but you're not going to be all those things every day for the rest of your life. And you may not even be able to do all of those things anymore, even if you could do them once upon a time. So I don't want to have those unrealistic expectations going into a relationship. And so it's hard for me. So kind of emotionally, mentally, spiritually, just having to deal with that. And I don't like hurting people. I don't like disappointing people. And I disappoint myself all the time. But for some reason, I'm the exception to that rule, which is annoying. But I didn't want to do that to this person. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't want to continue this relationship if it's going to be built on the facade, or like his imagination of what our relationship is going to be, and it isn't. And, just things that he kept saying he wants to do, but he hasn't done. And I'm like, we haven't even met. We've only been talking on the phone, and you're already planning out our future. You already think that I'm perfect. And I'm just like, I'm not. I want to get to know somebody, and then I want to see where it goes. Because yes, I do want to get married. Yes, I do maybe want to have children of my own, if that's still possible. I still I still want things in my life, but it doesn't mean that I have to have them. And it doesn't mean that I want to put myself in a situation that's gonna end up where I get hurt, or I end up hurting somebody else, because I don't want to do that. And dating just sucks. So if anybody has some decent dating advice, please feel free to comment down below, because I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been good at dating. I've never been good at flirting. And this is just frustrating, having to scroll through an app and trying to find people and trying to figure things out, and seeming to pick the same type of guys, on the app that I would get in real life, like just randomly meeting, and they're not the kind that I want anymore. So I want to learn how to attract something better, something different, someone at least on the same level as me, and not someone, where I've been. And I'm like, I do hope this guy makes some improvements in his life, and I do hope that he finds somebody, and I do hope that he's happy. I just don't see it being with me. And I just can't handle that kind of, I know I'm still a needy person, and I need attention, and I need validation, I need all of those things, But you can't have two people going into a relationship that constantly need that and that aren't going to listen to each other. And I could listen to him, but I didn't feel like he was listening to me. And anyway, enough said, enough done. You don't know this person, and I'm just rambling because it's a way to get it off my chest. It's an emotional thing I had to deal with this week. It was a mental thing I had to deal with this week. And then I just feel bad, ending a relationship with someone, and we had plans to do something next week. I couldn't follow through with it because it was too much. It was too much. And I feel bad, and I hope he finds somebody. And I hope I find somebody, but hopefully I'm not being too picky, and hopefully I'm not, making a mistake, because that's the other thing, is I don't want to turn away someone that's a true potential possibility for the rest of my life because I'm scared. But at the same time, I don't want to just, end up in a relationship just because I'm desperate and I want to be in a relationship, because been there, done that, don't want to do that again. So anyway, that kind of is my social thing. Plus, I did go to church. I did go to my temple service and things like that. So that was good. And then, of course, emotionally, did not work on my videos, have gotten behind on my journaling. I just do my journaling every morning instead of the night before, and I need to get back to where I do it every night, because when I do it in the morning, I don't have time to exercise, and sometimes I don't have time to read my scriptures and meditationals because I spend too much time journaling, and I would probably sleep better at night and feel better if I would do it at night instead of in the morning. So I need to get that switched around. And then I've skipped a few days, and having to play catch up is not fun when it comes to that either. So, and then spiritually, went to church, went to the temple, but I need to do more of going to the temple as a patron and not just going as an ordinance worker. And I need to do more, but I have been pretty good at my scriptures and meditationals and praying to see myself the way that God sees me. And that helps every day. And I'm so grateful that I'm at least doing that much every day. Physically, I have not done anything physically, seriously. I might have exercised once this week. I can't even remember, to be perfectly honest. And also because I was just really emotional. I didn't know how to deal with this guy, and I didn't know how to deal with the whole book that I was trying to get myself to write. And it was just 5 chapters, and I was so upset with myself for having not done it. And I was overwhelmed by the whole concept and process, and I was hungry, and I was choosing not to make food. I needed to go grocery shopping. And so instead of going grocery shopping, instead of paying attention to my finances, instead of anything, I literally just ordered pizza, which I know I can't have because it upsets my stomach, because it has the milk and the dairy in it, and it has all that gluten in it that for some reason my body doesn't seem to like as much as it used to. And so I ate a bunch of junk food all weekend, and then I just felt even more horrible physically because that's all I had to eat. So I need to do better, and I need to eat better food, and I need to go buy food and make food. But because I wasn't doing my dishes and I wasn't taking care of myself physically, or maybe emotionally, I'm not sure, one of the two. But by not journaling at night and doing it in the morning, it just kind of took away my exercise time, and then it zapped me of my energy for the week and for the day. And like I said, just came home and just not wanting to deal with my emotions and feelings, and avoiding all of those emotions and feelings causes me to do things like spend money on food that I know is going to upset my stomach, which it did exactly what I knew it was going to do, and it did upset my stomach. So then I just didn't feel good all weekend because I didn't eat healthy this weekend. So not really an excuse for any of that, just what I get for not journaling and not dealing with my emotions, because then they kind of take over that depression. And then of course my brain is like, well, I have money in my account, and I'm like, yes, and it should be going towards gas, or it should be going towards groceries. And what I spent on pizza for the weekend, lasted for three days, which is great, could have lasted for 2 weeks if I'd spent that money at the grocery store. So yeah, not really a good balance there. So anyway, that's just been my crazy up and down week, and just maybe not dealing with things the best that I could. Well, I dealt with things the best that I could, but probably just didn't deal with them as well as I would like to have. And mostly just having to remind myself that it's just a process. It's a process to change. It's a process to make different choices, to respond to things differently. And it's not what I grew up with. I didn't grow up with being taught how to face my emotions and face my feelings. I got taught how to bury them. I got taught how to let other people do what they wanted and to give in to other people. And if they wanted it and they said it was the right thing to do, then it was the right thing to do, even if I didn't feel like it was. And so I got taught the opposite. And so it's been difficult for me to adjust and to respond differently. So I'm going to try to just remember that and be gentle with myself in this whole process and be grateful that I am still journaling, grateful that I am choosing to make a video about all of this, and grateful that I can see the change and the progress that I have made, because I could see myself in this guy and now I am not that person anymore. And that I can set those boundaries and that I can see that I need something or want something different and better, and I want something real and not something that feels fake and or forced. So I am grateful that I can see that change in myself, and it's been a gradual change. It hasn't been an overnight change. And so doing these videos and thinking about that helps me to see the change and the progress that I've made, and it helps me to be gentle with myself in my responses and my reactions, even when I respond to my old ways, or I just kind of shut down sometimes and I don't deal with my emotions and I don't deal with what's right in front of me, because I didn't learn how to do that growing up. It wasn't something I was taught how to do. It's something that I am trying to teach myself to do and trying to convince myself that it's a good thing to do. And even though I know mentally that it is, emotionally, I still battle with that. So I am just grateful for what I did get done this week, and grateful for God being there and loving me and guiding me through this week. And that is all I have for this week. So if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great week full of gratitude and maybe find ways to live a happier, healthier life for you too.